right, welcome back to the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Woodin. I'll be your host as always. We have a two-part series tonight. Actually, the second part of a two-part series.
Yes.
The first part was last week. We have folks from Healing HoofBeats, LLC, and we have Renee Buffard, and we have Nicole Knoll. I'm saying that right?
You are.
Okay, listen, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome back to the
Thank
show. The first show that we did was extremely informative. We had a nice little round table discussion, and you know, I'm sure we're going to have another great show here. So, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to take a look and see where we left off last week. Just for the viewers that weren't here last week watching, where are you located, and just a real quick, what do you do?
Yes, so, so what do? We work with people of all ages, people who have a variety of different diagnoses. We are here to talk about our Operation Warrior Horse program, which is a 10-week, 2-hour-a-week program, group therapy program for veterans. So we work with the horses. We have about 4 to 5 veterans per group. It's a closed group, so once we start, nobody else enters into it. And we, you know, our hope is that we have so many veterans coming that we can have multiple groups going on at one time. Excuse me. This one is currently happening, or I should say will be happening at Shepherd Meadows in Bristol. Healing HoofBeats is also located in Hartford through Ebony Horsewomen.
Whereabouts in Hartford is it?
Excuse me, it's off of Vine Street. Okay. So it's in the north end. It is actually where the Hartford Police Mounted Patrol Unit used to be.
Okay.
So there's stables there.
The top of Main Street up in that area?
No, past Main Street, as you're going from like West Hartford into Hartford on Route 44.
Okay.
We're towards that end.
Okay.
It's definitely like a little gem. You wouldn't know it was there unless you knew it was there. Yeah.
No.
You know, a lot of times, not a lot of times, I mean, every show that we start, and I missed it this time, but we didn't miss it last time. You're a veteran.
I am.
We always like to honor the veterans who are on the show. What branch?
Army National Guard.
National Guard.
Yes.
You spent some time in Afghanistan.
Yes.
We have so many different guests on the show.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's hard to keep track of.
I'm sure.
It was nice excuse. I forgot.
That's okay. I forgive you. It's not all about me today.
It sounded good for a moment until I snitched myself up.
Just ran with it.
Yeah, I should have. I just have to be honest. On behalf of the Veterans Corner, the crew here, the viewers, we'd like to thank you for your service.
Thanks.
Let's jump into this. I know we covered a lot of stuff last week, and I know there's more stuff to cover this week. We talked about your backgrounds. And I guess the next question that I like to ask is, why horses?
Good question. So horses, we talked a little bit about this last time.
Yeah.
Horses being a prey animal are very in tune with us.
Yeah.
So they have to recognize if there's a bear, if there's a lion, or if there's a sheep somewhere within their environment. And because they're so in tune with the different energies that those animals have, they can assess whether it's a threat or it's not. And even though they've been domesticated for centuries, they still hold that wild instinct.
Yeah.
So the horses can understand and read our energy and what we're feeling or thinking, even if we have a mask on. So they respond to that. They respond to what's going on inside of ourselves, and base their reactions and their responses off of that. So if I'm feeling anxious, they're going to feel anxious because what is there out there that's going to make me anxious? Yeah, is it a bear out there that I need to be anxious about? And that's their thought process, but it really helps us understand what's going on inside of us, because sometimes we can't see that unless it's right in front of our faces.
And I think a lot of us have an experience of feeling one way on the inside and sort of showing people something totally else,
Exactly.
you know, and the
Exactly.
horses really give us the opportunity to be congruent with what we're thinking and what we're feeling and what we're saying and being honest. And that's a huge part of the healing process is honesty with ourselves and with others.
Especially like we discussed in part 1, last week is a PTSD.
Yeah.
A lot of times, they put on a good face.
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Yeah. Be strong. Be
expression you
strong
said,
like we were talking.
Fake it till you make it.
Oh, yeah.
Does not work with the horses.
No, not at all.
They sense it right away.
They sense it
immediately.
because you're not being, when you're faking it, you're not being congruent. And even if it is the worst emotion you can possibly feel, as long as you're being honest about it, they're good with it.
Yeah.
And they will be right there with you as you deal with that emotion. But if you try to mask it, that doesn't feel good to them. So they're going to go away until you can kind of figure out, okay, I have to be honest with this.
And a big part of that is them being a herd animal too. They want the other members of their herd to be someone that they can rely on, and that's definitely something that mirrors in the military environment and in the veteran community. You want everybody around you to be someone that you know and you understand and they're part of your team and you can work together, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to be a part of the horse's team, he really needs to know that what you're thinking and what you're saying are the same thing,
Now, I saw the clip that you sent me earlier. And that was, you can see how the horse was walking with you.
Yeah.
So that meant there was a perfect
They were partnered.
energy.
They were partnered. They had been, part of the clip is working on connection and being attached as partners. There is no, I'm in control of you or I'm forcing you to do this. It's, I'm asking you to do this because it's what's good for our relationship.
Yeah.
And in that video, you really see that work through, and the horse chose to walk with Nicole, and she had nothing attached to him.
And I saw, the horse was right there.
Yeah.
You sped up, you sped up, you slowed down.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really powerful experience for veterans to be able to have that partnership with a 1,000-pound animal. In last week's clip, you were talking about, veterans sort of needing that adrenaline rush that they once had, and how do you find that again? And it's very empowering to work with a 1,000-pound animal and feel like they're connected with you and you're working as a team. And I think it's a really healthy alternative to that adrenaline rush, if you will.
Yeah.
And you must, you obviously see the improvements over time, the closer the horse gets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's got to be extremely rewarding, not only for the veteran, but yourselves.
Yeah. And it's a very, I don't always like the term fast-paced, but it is a quicker type of therapy because it is experiential and relational.
Yeah.
So, what I would see a client for a year for in talk therapy happens in 16 weeks. You see results and you see outcomes very fast because you're working through all of that stuff right in the moment.
Yeah. And you're learning these new coping mechanisms and you're practicing with these coping mechanisms in a safe environment and amongst peers and with your therapist. And then you can take those same skills once you feel comfortable with them and use them out in the real world.
Yeah.
So it translates very quickly. So much of the work that we do is really with the horse as the teacher. It's really not about us. It's really about the horses.
Yeah.
And they give you that instant feedback. So whereas if you were testing out some kind of interaction with a person, it might take that other person a long time to say, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
Or, the way that you're treating me isn't really okay. The horses do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So it really helps the participant understand, oh, all right, maybe I shouldn't do that. Let me try something else.
Yeah.
And it's really fast in that manner that you're working through trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, the traditional, well, actually not traditional, but the newer face-to-face is with EMDR.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see, EFT, EFT. See, I do pay attention when the guests are on.
You got a couple acronyms up your sleeve,
Yes,
huh?
I do. I may not be able to remember that in another half hour. It just happens to be right now I did. Don't ask me what they stand for.
Okay.
But, actually, EFT was an emotional freedom technique.
Yeah. And
EMDR, I'm not going to try
movement,
it.
desensitization, and reprocessing.
That's
so I actually practice that as well.
It's I did read up on that a little bit. I just forgot what it stood for. But
so actually, when we work with the horses, and so sometimes we do actually do mounted work. You know, the majority of our curriculum is unmounted, but when people do get on the horses, the way that riding the horse and the movement of the horse makes our body and our brain work is very similar to the effects of EMDR.
Okay.
So it's making those brain connections and repairing the trauma.
okay. Reprogramming.
Yeah, in a way.
You know, what sets this program? Actually, we talked about this a little bit. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit more. What sets this program apart from other programs? We were just talking about it now.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you missed on, or we missed?
So I think who we are really helps.
Yeah.
But I think that what a lot of people or programs or facilities do when they have groups for veterans is it's not psychotherapy based. It's not there may not be a therapist, or the focus is not therapy, and it's not kind of repairing the damage that has happened. It's kind of moving forward, and this is a great healing process. And a therapeutic activity. It makes me feel good in the moment, but it doesn't go back into like the historical stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that so much is lost sometimes when that doesn't happen. And we don't do it through dredging up the past. We do it through healing the relationships or the things that have happened. And there's the therapist and the combat veteran who are there to help that process along.
It's actually a great connection, a great team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What one misses, the other one has, and vice versa. Especially when you're dealing with veterans, as we discussed last week. You know, veterans don't always want to talk to someone that's not a veteran.
Right. Yeah.
And there you are.
Yes. Yep.
And they can relate to that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it sort of gives them the opportunity not to have to maybe dredge up so much of that stuff, just to explain like just the nuances of what military service is. A lot of times with a civilian, you know, you'll find yourself really getting into the nitty gritty to help them understand, because you just don't know what their scope is or what their experience is with the military. You know, I mean, sort of, I think having me there lets them say, oh, I'm sure she'll translate that. You know what I mean?
What a lot of people don't realize too is, you know, having served myself in the Navy, I mean, there's situations you don't have to be in combat. I mean, you don't have to be dodging bullets. I mean, there's situations that you're in that you know that are, you know, traumatic.
And I think that's another unique thing about our program. I mean, we're not just saying this is only for combat veterans who are solely suffering from PTSD. We're saying this program is open to any veteran, whether you're a peacetime veteran, whether you're a wartime veteran, whether you're a combat veteran, whether your whole service was OCONUS, you know, like our doors are open, you know, and as long as you're interested in starting the healing process, we're interested in working with you.
That's great. Is there any research behind all this? Has it been around long enough where there has been research?
Yes, there is a ton of research. Equine assisted therapy has been around for about 30 some odd years. It has just now really started to get more talk. I think in a lot of different areas of the country, there's been a lot of research and work done with veterans, not so much in Connecticut, but I know like down in Virginia, in Washington, there's a lot of different programs that are, you know, VA funded. There is a ton of research just behind equine therapy and the effects. Unfortunately, it is still not an evidence-based practice, but we're getting there. Horse people and therapists don't tend to be the best researchers or want to do the work. We just like to practice. We don't want to do the research. So that's, you know, that's our downfall.
But you certainly see the results on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, and
think-
there are plenty of studies out there,
There
you
are a
know,
ton.
showing veterans who have gone through equine therapy program, and they take a look at their symptomology at the beginning, you know, before they've gotten started, and where are they, and you know, how active is their condition, and then they take a look at it at the end and see those positive changes. So, you know, they're exhibiting more self-confidence. You know, they're feeling a little bit more self-aware. You know, their depression has diminished. And so there's lots out there, and hopefully there will be more, you know, over the next coming years, and things like this sort of bring awareness.
A lot of these approaches are new, aren't they?
Oh,
Yes.
We had discussed
Yep,
EMDR.
EMDR is very new.
Yeah,
EFT, very new.
new.
Yeah.
So I mean, in time, you know, it could be the norm.
Yes, and I think what we're all recognizing is that talk therapy isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, there is so much healing that happens when you involve the body. So there's yoga therapy. There's, you know, I mean, EMDR is such a body experience as well. So that's where a lot of people are going to, because talk therapy just isn't for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
having the non-traditional types of therapy really helps to kind of go with everybody. You know, get everybody involved.
Well, the talk therapy, from what I understand, is, I mean, most that have the PTSD, been through traumatic events, have a wall around them to some degree. Some are small, some are very thick, and almost, you know, you can't penetrate them. And for those, talk therapy is extremely difficult.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I mean, I've seen that just in, like, we were talking about my past occupation.
Yeah.
And experiences.
And we're not really asking people to come in and dig all of that trauma up again, so much as, you know, verbalizing it through talk therapy. You know, we're just asking them to be open to the process. You know, and sort of, it tends to come up over time organically, but it's more when they need it to happen, and when it's healthy and helpful for them, and when their horse is there to help them through it. You know, it's really valuable.
And actually, for you, you can tell that you're making progress when they do open up and start talking.
Yeah. And I mean, the way we make our program better too is, you know, the curriculum, it's very organic. Like, we'll take a look at, you know, one class and we'll say this worked, this didn't. And then in the next class, you know, maybe we'll switch it up a bit, or we get some feedback, you know, from our veterans who came through and they like this and they would like to see more of that. And, you know, we really try to tailor it, you know, to who's going to be working with us.
I was going to say each veteran is going to be different. Each person is going to be different.
Each person, and then, you know, each person that creates that group is going to make things different. And the relationship that one has with the horse, because my relationship with the horse is different than your relationship with the horse. You know, so you have all of these different pieces that create the perfect storm of why the group works. You know, and I think one of the best things is to sometimes throw out the curriculum, because maybe that's not what this group needed. And maybe in that day they needed something completely different.
Outside the box.
Yeah, we like to go in with a plan, but the plan doesn't always play out, and that's okay.
That's usually with anything.
You
know.
But you know, the horses are so intuitive that they know exactly what that person needs. You know, and if you can be open to that and just kind of let the process happen, we're there to guide it. It just goes.
And that's sort of another thing that sets the program apart, is that it's very flexible. You know, we're not rigid with our curriculum and say, this week we are going to do this, you know.
Whether you like it or not.
If it doesn't fit the needs, then we'll figure it out, you know.
You know, and you're pacing yourself with obviously we were just talking about with each individual. What is the cost for the program, Nicole?
We are very fortunate to have been doing a lot of fundraising over the past year or so, and we were also very fortunate to be a recipient of a sizable grant from an organization called PATH. So right now there is no cost for the veterans that participate in our program. You know, they can come in and do the screening with us to ensure that they're eligible, and then they're able to participate in 10 weeks of equine therapy for free.
It's and you know, that's one of the first things that, you know, people are going to think about.
Yeah. Right.
The cost.
Yeah.
And we really wanted it to be free of cost.
Stressless.
Yeah.
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 I mean, down the road, do you think it's possible that insurance might cover it?
We hope so.
Yeah.
We absolutely hope so. More and more private insurances are starting to see it and are accepting it. So I'm hoping that it's only a matter of time.
I mean, they're accepting EMDR. How about EFT?
That I'm not sure of.
Yeah, EMDR, I think they. How many people can apply or be referred to the program? I think you said 10 before, right? Or
Our groups right now are typically 4 to 5.
4 to 5?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's someone who's interested in participating, they can contact us through Healing HoofBeats, which will send them right to Renee, and we'll set up an opportunity for them to come in and sit down and meet us both in person and take a little history and have a sort of an open table discussion on what their therapeutic goals are and sort of what we have to offer, and then go from there.
Yeah, build that trust
Yeah, absolutely.
before you get out there. And,
Right.
yeah.
So we keep our groups small, but that doesn't mean that if we have 10 or 15 people who want to participate that we can't do more than one group at one time.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to help as many as we can. So we're not stuck with just the 5. We can keep going.
Where are you normally? Are you up at Shepherd's Meadows or is it split 50-50? Between Hartford and...
It's about 50-50.
50-50.
Right now, the Veterans Program is running just at Shepherd Meadows.
Okay.
And, because they were awarded the grant and they did the fundraising. So we are hoping to get this up and running in Hartford, too.
Okay. And it's, you're in an area, especially Bristol, where the veterans population is huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very centrally located. So even if you aren't a Bristol resident, it's not too far of a travel for most people.
There was a time, actually a few years back, I mean, stats change, it fluctuates. But not too long ago, Bristol was the largest veterans population per capita
Wow.
in the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
And being the 10th or the 11th largest city in the state, I think it had the 5th largest.
And it's a very active community.
Yeah.
I mean, the veterans community in Bristol, they just do so much.
Yeah.
We've had the Vietnam Memorial Wall come out and visit us, I think twice in the past 5 years.
It came out in 98. 98 was the first time it came through. And that was the moving wall.
Yep. 2016?
Yeah, 2016 it was there.
Yeah.
And just in Connecticut itself, it's been in a number of areas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you've got a large veteran population down in the Naugatuck Valley area. The major cities, I mean, Bridgeport, Waterbury,
Yeah.
Hartford. And I mean, there's definitely a need.
There
And
is.
Shepherd's Meadows is in a perfect place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there, I think we talked about this too, but just to recap it, a screening process.
Yes. Yep. So we did chat a little bit about this. So, my information will be up there for everybody to be able to see. We'll go through that. But they would call me. We would set up an intake with Nicole and myself to take a little bit of a history, to see what's going on currently, and to get them into the best fit.
Now, you had said to get in touch with you. Why don't we jump into that right now as far as, I'm going to put my glasses on. To get a hold of, this is actually your phone number.
Yes.
She doesn't want to give hers out. This is for Renee, and if you're interested in this program, it's 860-459-4115.
Yes.
860-459-4115. For more information, you can call Renee on that. There's also, this is where I definitely going to need the readers. For the, okay, this is your contact information. Do you have a website?
We have a Facebook page, which is Healing HoofBeats, LLC.
Okay. Healing HoofBeats, LLC on Facebook for more information there.
Yeah.
Do you want to give out the email address?
You can. It's long-winded.
I think we have time.
Yes. Spell it out. Every
Spell it
letter.
Well, that may take a while. Renee.Bouffard@gmail.com. RENEE.BOUFFARD@gmail.com.
So we are hoping to start up our first group on Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Shepherd Meadows, starting on June 19th.
That will be here before you know it. I can't believe how time's
I
flying
I know
right
it.
now.
Yep.
And since this show is actually, it could be aired next year again, so we'll make sure that we say 2018.
Yes.
Yes,
We've had shows on, and we didn't throw in the actual year.
Hopefully, we'll be coming back before then
Yeah.
and giving you updates.
And if it doesn't, then in 2019, you know where you have to be, June 19th.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's on a Sunday. But real fast, what do you look for in the horses that you work with? We actually, you know what?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
You know, we really don't have enough time.
Yeah, that is a.
That means you're going to have to come back
Long-winded
again.
Yes.
Just for that question. We'll get some more questions. You know, once again, very informative. It was great having you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
You know, it's you know, for the viewers out there, if you have any question whatsoever whether or not you need this program, don't hesitate.
Yes.
The number's there, 860-494-594115. That's 459-4115.
Yes.
Please give Renee a call. And so with that being said, we are just about out of time.
Yes.
Turn it off. As you can see, that's all the time we have for the show. Hope you enjoyed the episode and found it very informative, which I'm sure you did. A special thanks once again to our great
you.
guests,
Thank you.
Renee and Nicole. My name's Chuck Woodin. You're watching the Veterans Corner. Thanks for watching, and good night.